How how childhood trauma affects starseeds and lightworkers. Healing relationship attachment styles, insecure relationship attachment styles. That is what we're going to focus on today in this video. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Natasha Bailey from Soul Mission. So in a previous video, I shared a dark night of the soul that I went through recently, and how that brought up a lot of issues from childhood and relationship attachment trauma. So I'll just start off by saying, I've noticed that a lot of us in the Starseed and Lightworker community have been brought up in very dysfunctional families. And I do think we had a soul contract to experience that, only because that would then help us to really get an idea of what it's like to live on this planet. But also as a call, an invitation to do that healing on ourselves, so that if we feel called to, we then could do that healing with others and lift everybody up together, as well as ourselves. So this is not to negate the experiences that people have had. It's simply a call, an invitation to step deeper into really getting to know who you are, what your purpose is, and removing any blocks to doing your purpose. So what I've found in a lot of Starseed Lightworker communities is instead of dealing with a lot of this trauma, a lot of people have been escaping into activities like doing light work or light codes, or could even be doing clearing work, which I did for a long time. I still do, but I prefer a more balanced approach, working across all the dimensions. And so I found that as a community, we tend to be working more up here when the trauma is located more in the lower dimensions. And every time we try to avoid that or escape into the light, we are just avoiding our own darkness, or the darkness that hasn't been transformed into light or even accepted. So I think it's, if you avoid it, it's going to bite you later. And I certainly have been doing a lot of work on myself for a long time. And this recent dark night of the soul took me further into a greater level of healing. So I'm going to explain a little bit, what do I mean by insecure attachment style in relationships. So as children, we hope that our parents will provide consistent, loving, and firm and healthy boundaried attention to us. Unfortunately, in dysfunctional families, this does not happen. So we may experience parents who are either very withdrawn, not very emotionally present, or parents who are quite aggressive and attacking or critical, or we might experience parents who are inconsistent. One moment loving, another moment not loving. So so the way our parents were with us is how we internalize, we internalize them and the way that they treated us. So we either behave in that way towards ourselves. Yeah. We can either be kind of distant emotionally to ourselves, or attacking of ourselves, or kind of inconsistently present for ourselves, or in relationship, when we get into relationships with others, we can either feel it's difficult to connect, or we can't stay in a relationship for long, or there's a lot of conflict in relationship. Guaranteed, you probably have some form or some degree of insecure relationship attachment style that you may have inherited from childhood and from childhood trauma. Now, unfortunately, this sits in the nervous system. So I've tried lots of different therapies that were more on the kind of cognitive level or the talking therapy level. And they only go so far in terms of resolving this situation. Why? Because when we're doing talk therapies, we're using a part of the brain that deals with logic and reasoning. Whereas the trauma and the program that stimulates the trauma to come up to be resolved is in another part of the brain. So we really have to start working more on the nervous system level, on the somatic level, on the body level to really get to those lower level of healing. Because a lot of talk therapy, like I experienced, was quite intellectualized and mental in the head. So I got a great understanding of my problems, but I still was getting triggered. And I was like, why is this taking so long? So I've been doing a lot of kind of exploring into this recently, and I've learned that we need to, take a multidimensional approach to trauma healing as well. It's not just enough to do talk therapy, but you also have to do some nervous system reprogramming. And I'm going to go into what that is in later videos. But I would say the benefits of dealing with this now than later is you're going to feel a lot more secure within yourself, meaning you won't feel like you are dependent or reliant or getting triggered by people that you're in relationship with. Meaning, instead of relying on your source of approval, love, attention, feeling secure within yourself from another person, the focus comes back centered and grounded within you. So this really is about creating a secure attachment back with yourself when it hadn't been created with your parents to begin with. So it's not your fault that you experienced trauma in your childhood, and it is your responsibility with this awareness to now take charge and to help yourself get the support and help you need to resolve this. So in the next videos, I am going to share the different types of insecure attachment styles: avoidant, anxious, preoccupied, disorganized, and the secure attachment style, what they look like. Maybe you recognize yourself in some of those. And the last video will be about solutions to creating a secure attachment relationship to yourself and to your inner child. I have to say big shout out to some people who've been so inspirational recently for me. I've got to say big shout out to Thais Gibson, Brianna McWilliams, Richard Grannon, and Linda Anderson, my EFT tapping coach. So go check them out. They're amazing people, and they talk about a lot of these subjects on their channels. Okay, over and out. I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.